Now, if you remember the story with Jamel George, who works at Housing Works Dispensary, well, guess what? Here's some good news for you. We were hoping on this. He is back home at
Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! I'm free at last!
after 3 weeks in Rikers and also spending a little time over in Pennsylvania. And we're going to read this off of The City. It's a local website for New York news. Jamel George, a bud tender at Housing Works Dispensary, was released from a Pennsylvania jail on Thursday evening. He had spent more than 3 weeks in prison on Rikers Island in part of an arrest of an out-of-state cannabis charge. George, 33, was arrested during a traffic stop on October 11th while driving home from his job working at the First State Legal Cannabis Dispensary. Cops found that he was driving without a license and that he had warrants against him related to marijuana charges out of state. In an interview with The City, George recalled that he was first taken to the precinct because he had a warrant for possession of marijuana in New York, even though adult cannabis has been legal for more than 2 years in the state. Later that night, the police discovered that he had an outstanding warrant in Pennsylvania as well, stemming from a 2021 arrest there when he drove with his fiancée and their daughter to an amusement park with edibles in his car. The system has changed and exhausted George in a brief phone interview on Friday. New York's 2021 law legalizing cannabis, including a provision to expunge cannabis convictions but not pot-related arrest warrants. Jeffrey Hoffman, a cannabis lawyer in New York who's not involved in George's case, said that it was a clear oversight by lawmakers here. New York is leaving people out to dry on the base of whims of other states, Hoffman said. After an initial hearing in New York was canceled last Friday, George, who had never been locked up before, remained at Rikers until Tuesday when he was transferred to a jail in Pennsylvania, a state where pot remains illegal. After his arrest and detention, word spread throughout the cannabis community. Colleagues and friends rallied around George and created a GoFundMe to support his legal defense and bail. The effort raised more than $13,500 so far and helped George hire a lawyer who secured a bail hearing in Pennsylvania on Thursday. Hours later, George posted bail on a $20,000 bond and was released. Mike Castle, a former Housing Work colleague who started the GoFundMe, he said he's glad to help in such a difficult situation. I'm just proud of the cannabis community coming together and accomplish this goal, which getting him back together with his family. Hassel told The City. George told The City that he's glad that the ordeal is finally over. I'm good now. I'm home with my family, George said. Well, the case hasn't been dismissed in Pennsylvania, so you still have to handle that, which is probably going to end up to be a fine. Now, as far as the cases here in New York on there that haven't been dismissed, the thing about it is you have to remember something. Yes, cannabis is made legal now, but the crime he committed was back a bit. And that still has to be adjudicated. Understand that. That doesn't get expunged. Most people, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm going to tell you something. When laws change, okay, the event didn't happen when the law was changed. It happened a couple of years prior to that. It's still there and still has to be, adjudicated. Whether the judge, dismisses the whole entire case or basically he has to pay a fine. Things like this, doesn't change immediately. People say, well, they made it legal, so everything back, all those arrests and stuff like that, they have to be released. No, not at all. Because they have to be looked into and find out the reason why they were arrested. Was this a plea down from a bigger charge, which that happens a lot here in New York? But now, here's the other situation for it, and this is what some of these guys bring up. So, well, it's illegal on there, and they shouldn't be arrested if if it's legal in the state. No, excuse me. You're traveling in another state, okay? If the state law mandates that it is illegal to be carrying cannabis, marijuana, edibles on there, you have to respect that law, because there are those who still to this day, and this goes on the other side, on the West Coast, that drive across state lines with bags upon bags of cannabis, which makes it illegal. Okay? You're trying to force rules onto a state that probably voted against it. You know, if it's voted against by the, and this is what, by the people, for the people, to the situation, you know, you can't force that onto others if they don't believe in that situation. If they don't want cannabis in their state, fine and dandy. Don't get caught with it in their state. Now, I'm glad Jamal's out, and like I said in the other video, you know, him and his wife should get into the bakery business, not in the cannabis edible bakery, regular bakery, because some of the cakes that I've seen online from her, they look good. They look good. Maybe they should get into a baking business. They'll probably make a lot of money. Just you know, there are those many celebrity cake makers that have made, you know, a lot of money making some really cool cakes out there. And she has a talent, and he has a business talent that he got into this business, and he studied it and got into it. But, you know, you don't have to get into the cannabis trade. You know, there's many different issues as far as what's going on here. And, you know, licensing has been paused because of lawsuits that are coming. You know, I think that basically the recreational cannabis is not going to survive in New York. There are too many problems. It has failed here in New York. So tell me in the comments below your thoughts about this. You know, I'm glad he's out, you know, back with his family into the situation on there. But you got to remember, you know, when, you know, you do something like this years ago, you got to clear it up. If you know you have this on your record, clear it up. It doesn't take that long. You know, surrender yourself in. You know, sometimes you might be just written off as far as that. But if you got a warrant out there for your arrest, you know, you got to take care of that. That has to be taken care of. In some cases, warrants can be resolved by seeing the judge and you're out the door. Other times, you might have to spend some time in jail. But, you know, Rikers ain't the greatest place in the world, but still, it has to be done. But, you know, this is the things that happens. You can call it crazy on that, but remember, you're watching a madman with the show.
Thanks for watching. Before you go, please comment, like, and share this video. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe as this helps the reach of our channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have that ability to help support this and many other channels. Especially now more than ever since the passing of a new law in the United Kingdom that will diminish the reach of many channels and affect our advertisers. If you wish to help grow this channel by financial support, you have two ways. There are two links in the description below. The first will send you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will send you to our gear store where you can purchase t-shirt, mugs, and other specialty items. Any additional discounts will be listed on the main page. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.